In the name of God, the Abba who created us, Jesus, the incarnate Word, and the Spirit who is our companion. Amen. Scholars don't know exactly what this passage refers to, what sin is involved, but we can guess. Matthew was part of a Jewish Christian community. Perhaps the sinner in question wasn't willing to cut ties with the Jewish synagogue. Perhaps that person could never fully acknowledge Jesus as Christ, and that would be an offense to the emerging Christian community. Or perhaps it was some kind of personal offense. Could it involve a financial deal gone wrong? An insult that really stung? We'll never know for sure. But today's gospel passage lays out some basic principles that can help us negotiate the conflicts in our own lives. Chief among these embedded precepts is the most basic, but in some ways, the most difficult. Don't allow bad feelings to fester. That's difficult because sometimes we want to minimize the problem, hoping it will just go away. Sometimes it's hard to admit to ourselves that we are vulnerable to being hurt or being wronged. Instead, we may try to tell ourselves, I can take it, even when we suspect we can't, not really. Or we turn the blame back on ourselves. People who have suffered physical or emotional abuse sometimes fall into this trap. It must have been something I said, something I did. If I only could be better, be different, be whatever, things will get better between us. But often the truth is that it is not your fault and things don't just get better. That can be incredibly painful to admit. Another key teaching is don't keep your pain to yourself. First, be honest with the person who has offended you. Now, we don't have to be blamey, but we do have to be open about the grievance we feel we have. And then we need to listen, really listen to what the other person has to say. They may be totally unaware of saying or doing anything to offend us. That's the best case scenario. The worst is that the other person meant exactly what they said or did. Of course, we won't know the difference until and unless we initiate the conversation. Whichever truth emerges, the other major teaching in today's passage is get help. Don't go it alone. In our personal disputes, we don't have to bring one or two people to talk to our problem person. By the way, in matters of ecclesiastical discipline, there are protocols for examining allegations of malfeasance or misbehavior within our church. But in our personal disputes, it helps to talk to a trusted friend or advisor or therapist. They can help us take a step back and look at our situation with a little more objectivity, perspective. They can support us emotionally and spiritually, whether or not a reconciliation ever becomes possible. Then there's the last step, although it isn't treated directly in today's gospel: forgiveness. In today's passage, the unrepentant offender may be expelled from the worshiping community. But even that doesn't solve our interior situation. Whether we've been inadvertently wronged or purposely maligned, whether or not the one who has wronged us has apologized, somehow we have to find a way to let it go. I've never confused forgiveness with forgetting. To me, forgetting means trying to erase what happened from our consciousness. Even worse, forgetting means not allowing what has happened to shape our decision-making in the future. As we know, forgiving doesn't mean setting someone else free as much as it means setting us free. Learning from our mistakes, but not blaming ourselves for them. What undergirds us in all this? It's what Jesus tells us at the end of today's gospel passage. Truly, I tell you, if two of you agree on earth about anything you ask, it will be done for you by my Father in heaven. Abba. That's the power of community, even when it comes by twos, even when it comes through a phone call, even a text. If two of you or more agree that you have been grieved, you will find comfort and hopefully understanding. If two or more of you agree that you need to make significant changes in your life, you will find motivation. If two or more of you agree that you need to forgive and let go, you will feel forgiveness waft over you, forgiving not only the sins against you, but sins you have committed without ever intending to. And then everything begins to open up. And then you feel the presence of Jesus, sometimes as if for the first time. You know Jesus as your constant companion. Jesus, who helps you understand, who helps you forgive, and who allows you to feel forgiven. Amen.